Okay, now let's actually create a getter method for this name instance variable. And remember that this instance variable is a constant, okay? So we cannot change the value of this instance variable from another method or class. So here I need to only create a getter method, okay, not a setter method, because we cannot change the value of this instance variable once we assign a value to this instance variable, okay? So first of all, I need to specify the access modifier of this getter method, public, okay? And here I need to specify the return type of this getter method, a string, and the name of this method is get name, okay? And then I need to put in a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then I need to open and close my method by using these curly braces, okay? So here, so inside the method, now I need to return the value of this name instance variable, okay? So as you can see here, this is our getter method for this name instance variable. And we don't need to actually create a setter method for this instance variable because this instance variable is a constant and we cannot change the value of this instance variable from another method or class, okay? We just need to create a getter method in order to allow other classes to access the value of this name instance variable, okay? So again, we need a getter method for this color instance variable. So the access modifier of this getter method is public, and the return type of this method is a string, and the name of this method is get color, okay? And then I need to actually put in a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then I need to open and close my method by using these curly braces. Inside the method, I can just return the color instance variable, okay? So as you can see here, these are the getter methods. These are the getters for these instance variables. So here I want to actually create a getter and a setter for this amount of speed instance variable. So as you can see here, this instance variable is not a constant, okay? So we can actually create a setter method in order to allow other classes to change the value of this instance variable. So first I create a setter method for this amount of speed instance variable. So the access modifier of this method is public, and the return type of this method is void, okay? And then the name of this method is set amount of speed, and then I need to actually put in a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then inside the parenthesis I need to actually specify that this method is going to actually accept an argument of type int, and the name of this argument is value, okay? It can be amount of speed too, for example amount of speed, okay? And then I need to open and close my method by using these curly braces. So now inside the method I can just put in this keyword dot amount of speed, assignment operator amount of speed, okay? So because this the name of this argument is the same as the name of this instance variable, I needed to put this keyword here in order to refer to this instance variable here. And then I put an assignment operator here, and then I assigned this argument to this instance variable, okay? In this video, I made a mistake, okay? And here I want to actually fix these mistakes. First of all, in line 20, I actually assigned this amount of speed argument to this amount of power instance variable, and this is wrong. I should actually refer to this amount of power argument name. So I should actually type in amount of power, okay? And the next mistake that I made is in this method, set amount of speed. First, I actually referred to the name of this amount of power instance variable, and this is wrong. This method is for actually setting values to this amount of speed instance variable. So change the name of this instance variable to amount of speed, okay? And then as you can see, here we are actually assigning this amount of speed argument to this amount of speed instance variable, okay? So now we actually fixed these mistakes, okay? So make sure that you actually assign this argument to this amount of speed instance variable in this method, okay? So here again, I create another getter method for this amount of speed instance variable, public int, As you can see, the return type of this method is of type int, okay? As you can see, the data type of this instance variable is int. So we need to actually return a value of type int from this getter method, okay? So public int get amount of speed, and then I need to put in a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then I need to open and close my method by using these curly braces. Here I just need to return the value of this amount of speed instance variable, okay? So again, I actually create a setter method for this amount of power instance variable. So I just need to type in here public, and the return type of this method is void, and the name of this method is set amount of power, and then I need to put in a pair of round brackets after my method name. So here I want to specify that this method is going to actually accept an argument of type int. So here the data type of this argument is int, and the name of this argument is amount of power, okay? And then I need to open and close my method by using these curly braces. So inside the method, I just need to type in this dot amount of power assignment operator amount of power, okay? So this is our setter method for the amount of power instance variable, and then I need to actually create a getter method for this instance variable amount of power. So public, and the return type of this method is int, and the name of this method is get amount of power, and then I need to put in a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then I need to actually open and close my method by using these curly braces. So here I just need to return the value of this amount of power instance variable, amount of power instance variable, okay? So now I created the getters and the setters for these instance variables. So now I want to actually redefine a method that is actually inside the object class extends object. So this object class has some methods and variables, and this animal class can actually access those methods or variables because this animal class actually inherits all the behaviors and features of this object class, okay, by default. And here I just wanted to show you that this animal class actually inherits all of these behaviors by default, okay? So in order to actually access the behaviors that are inside this object class, I can just refer to the name of those methods. So for example, to a string. As you can see, this is a method that is inside this object class, okay? And this override keyword here means that we are redefining or overriding a method that is inside this object class, okay? And here I can actually put my own instructions, my own implementations inside this method, okay? So this is how we can actually access the behaviors that are inside the class that we are inheriting from, okay? So if I actually delete these two words here, as you can see, it's going to actually show us no errors, because by default this animal class is actually inheriting all of the behaviors and features that are inside the object class, okay? And here, as you can see, the access modifier of this method is public, the return type of this method is a string, and the name of this method is toString, okay? So now let's actually go inside the object class in order to find this toString method, okay? So here I just need to type in extends object, and then hold the command key and then click on this object class. And here I want to actually find the toString method, okay? So in order to actually find a method or a specific keyword in your classes, if you are using Mac OS 6, you just need to hold the command key plus the F key on your keyboard. Or if you are using a Windows machine, you need to actually hold the control key plus the F key on your keyboard, okay? I can actually search for my method names or keywords, for example, toString. So as you can see here, this is the toString method, okay? And these are some of the comments that are actually explaining the functionalities of this toString method, okay? So as you can see here, it says it returns a string containing a concise human readable description of this object, okay? Subclasses are encouraged to override this method and provide an implementation that takes into account the object's type and data, okay? The default implementation is equivalent to the following expression. As you can see, this is the expression that is the default implementation of this method, okay? Get class dot get name plus @ plus integer dot 2 hex string, and then inside the parentheses, as you can see, hash code, okay?